but we just want to recap from where we ended last time. We had a meeting in early July, actually July 2nd, and some of the questions that was raised for Public Works to do some research on was, hey, who owned the road? Who owned the road? Then the other question was, what is the integrity of the roadway from the top of from the lookout down to the bottom of the valley? The other question that we're asked to look at, or I not jotted down, was that what is the capacity of the road as it is right now? What is the capacity? And the other one is that because there's a mixed use, farmers, residents, visitors, sightseers, local people that go camp, go surf, what kind of education is needed for people that use the road? And part of the stuff that we found out in preparing since the last meeting is that, you know what, this road, the Waipio Valley Access Road, is owned by the County of Hawaii. I always thought that this road was owned by the state of Hawaii, and that the county was maintaining it for the state. But after everybody, I got different answers, 6 different answers. I said, okay, we better go look it up. So we went through the research through the Bureau of Conveyances and the deeds and everything else. And the fact is that in 1966, Honoka Sugar, not Hamakua Sugar, Honoka Sugar deeded the land to the County of Hawaii. And they deeded this road by way of what I call a very simple survey. What they probably did was they walked down the middle of the road and they put on stake and they said, shoot me, give me the angle and give me the distance. And they went right down the middle. And then the way that the road is described in the deed, it says, this is the center line of the road. Go 15 feet this way, 15 feet that way. That's your road, County of Hawaii. So what we're doing right now is that we are going to survey the road to see how much of the road is going to fall down in the valley and how much of the road it may be at the top of the cliff. So we need to document where the road is, because adjacent to this road that the county owns, there are private and public landowners. In fact, most of the road on the top side, on the bank side, is owned by Kamehameha Schools, but it's leased to the Department of Agriculture. And that's the bulk owner of that. So the survey work, we're going to try and schedule this within the next 30 to 60 days so that we can get a better idea based on the alignment, the surveying alignment, where is the limits of the work of the road. Because if the road got to get wider at certain points, that means we got to go get the real estate. We got to go get the property. As far as the integrity of the road, talking to our maintenance people and talking to some of the people that use the road almost every day, it seems to be that the major area, as far as the road integrity, is the first horseshoe, where most of the landslides or the rocks or the dirt falls after heavy rains. Is that correct? No. That and the potholes, yeah, okay. The other part that relative to the capacity of the road is limited to 1 lane in certain places. I think 2 or 3 spots on the bottom side where it's maybe 10 feet now, 10 feet wide. Maybe before it was 15 feet, maybe it was 20 feet, but now it's 10 feet. And both sides basically have very steep embankments. So, also what we're doing is we got some preliminary traffic counts on the type of vehicles, when the vehicles go up and down the road. And that traffic counts initially were from the rangers, I guess, that work at the lookout. But what we did was the traffic division actually put some counters out that counts the cars going up, going down, takes the speed, and does all kind of stuff with the numbers. So they come out with what they call the average daily traffic or the peak hour traffic. And they can even distinguish between Is it a passenger vehicle? Is it a truck? Is it a truck with a trailer? And how fast those vehicles are going. In the data that I saw after 7 days of collection of the data, I saw, well, this cannot be right. Man, this road is pretty steep. Some cars going more than 70 miles an hour on this road. Man, this road must be pretty good. Eh? Why we got to fix them? But anyway, that may be a glitch in the data collection, but certainly we are collecting data, and the more data that we have, perhaps we can come up with, besides physical fixes, looking at traffic control plans. Because when I talk to some of the older people, actually at the County of Hawaii, they say, yeah, many, many years ago, there was a plan where they actually implemented a red-green system. And a red-green system is a traffic signal at the top, traffic signal at the bottom, and I guess every so often it would change, and basically it became a one-way road, maybe every hour, or based on some count, the light would change, and everybody would go up, and everybody would come down. Something like what you have down at Uma now, on the Uma-Malohoa Highway. But I understand that for some reason, after the power lines and the lights were installed, it was never implemented. Again, somebody had a good idea at that time. They must have worked with the community. But our goal is to see, is this something that the community would like or can live with and can regulate? Because obviously, the police, I don't think they can, they cannot be out there 24 hours a day or there every day with the kind of manpower that we have. Unless, of course, the mayor approves maybe 5 new bodies of police for Waipio Valley road control. But as I mentioned, we are here to listen, and I don't want to take up all the time because I know you have a big agenda, but we did come up with just as a straw man, just like pin the tail on a donkey, right? We got the map, and we put the donkey up there, and you can put the tail. So we got some maps up here, which Keone developed. The first map, the big map you see, is the plan view of the road from the lookout down to the bottom. And that basically identifies the 2 key areas of concern for the road integrity. One is the horseshoe where the slides occur, and the other is the narrow areas where it's limited to about 10 feet width right now. So then what we also got up there, is just throwing this out, is that if the desire is to have a road that, at least at the horseshoe, that is open or not susceptible to rock slides. I think we go out there maybe once, twice, 3 times a year to clear the slides. There is a way to engineer it, that is to cut the slope back, and what the slope would look like. Right now it's maybe like this, right? And then they tell me the trees overhanging, and you see the roots already. So one is the vegetation management, to take care of the trees. And once you take care of the trees, you get sunlight onto the road, then the road also would be less slippery, less moss grows, less leaves accumulate. So that makes the road, from a safety standpoint, easier to travel. Doesn't mean you can go faster, it's just easier to go, because your tires grip better, right? So the other thing too is that we come up with several options on the one-to-one slope with different degrees of stability. One is just cut the slope, cut one bench, cut one other slope. The other way is put cut slope, bench, cut. No, cut, bench, cut, bench, cut. And then the other one is when you get the slope surfaces, either look at, yeah, one more time. The slope is like this. You're pulling my chain over here. Yeah. So, okay, the slope is like this. One way to make the slope, the rock not fall down, is to cut the slope, less steep. Then you put on bench, you go horizontal, then you go back up, you cut again, then you go maybe 15 feet, you cut another bench till you get to the top. So once we do that, based on our estimate, we one-to-one with the bench system, which we're going to be in probably we're going to be in the property of Kamehameha Schools, the one that I mentioned that is leased to the Department of Agriculture. So certainly we have to work with Kamehameha Schools. And I see the land manager here tonight because we did have a brief conversation with her. And, she's all for supporting this and, working with the County of Hawaii for the people of Waipio Valley. So that's one way. The other way is when I talk about cutting the slope, that's a bare slope. And then the other way is to line that slope with rock, right? Rock and cement, rock and cement, rock and cement. Build that rock wall, what they call a GRP wall, so to stabilize the slope. Now, the other thing that we look at when we're at the top, when we're talking about the horseshoe now, we've got to check where's the water coming from? Is the water going over the cliff or is the water going someplace else? If we want to just make sure that whatever we do in the existing condition, if the water under heavy rain, and I'm talking about like a heavy rain, like a Hilda and a Guillermo, will the water, which way is the water going? So that is part of the engineering survey that needs to be also completed because we may need to divert the water so it doesn't go over the cliff. Yeah? So that's what we're looking at. You got several options over there. If there's, for some reason that we shouldn't be cutting the cliff, if it's a sacred cliff, where there's some manao, some wisdom, or shouldn't be touched, then we need to know that. And that's why we wanted to get your input also tonight. Now, when you get down to the bottom, and the real smart engineers told me, but I told them, don't put them on a wall. They said, hey, we don't have to do all of this one. Why don't you just go tunnel through the mountain? And I say, tunneling is an option, but sounds pretty expensive. Why don't we save that for some input from the public? Maybe we'll tunnel through the mountain so we can get to the valley. But when you get down to the bottom, what we're looking at is where it's one lane. Is there some places where you can straighten out the curves? Straighten out the curves. So why? When you get one curve, first of all, you can see, right? If you get straight, you can see, especially if it's 10 feet. But if we can make it 15 feet, 20 feet, better yet. So what we're looking at is cutting that slope also and not creating full lanes, but creating at least places where you can pull out. Where people say, oh, I missed that car coming, I'm not going to back up, I'm going to just pull up on the side. Yeah? So it's got to be some side where you can pull out, and got to be to the mountainside, not the valley side. So we got that type of plans. I just wanted to get your feedback. Maybe you guys got different ideas, better ideas on what we can do. But whatever plan we come up with, when we looked at some of these options, of course, with also including those fabric fences that in case the rock falls down, it catches it. We got options on that also. So really, Mr. Mayor and everybody and Ms. Poindexter, what we're really looking at is someplace between $8 to $12 million for some fix if we want to improve the road in this type of manner. Huh? But
how came 8 to 12 million? I just talked to Brandon, the deputy director, the other day. He told me 4 to 5 million.
Oh, that was yesterday. Huh?
Wow, how the thing went double. I told him, yeah, I'll go talk to Val, guys. She can pass the money, and then we can put them all to good use. But now we're going to make sure that so the scale, again, we're sliding scale, right, Warren?
That depends on what option, and of course, the more money you spend, the less risk of something happening. Yeah, it's all a matter of, you got to balance. You got to find where that balance is.